Hello everyone, my name is Jacob D. Olson, and this is my individual mastery project for Southwestern College, Kansas, OMGT415, a supply chain management course. And this is what I'll be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about a publicly traded company's supply chain management process, which is McDonald's, founded by Ray Kroc in 1955. I'll tell you why I selected McDonald's and some of their products and services offered. We'll go over McDonald's supply chain management process, their sustainable and ethical supply chain management practices, the maintenance and improvement of their supply chain, how they handle customer and vendor relations, both nationally and their international partnerships, and then we'll finish up with some supply chain management obstacles, risks, and security concerns that McDonald's may have. But first I'll tell you why I selected McDonald's. So I selected them because since their inception in 1955, they've always done a great job of managing their supply chain. And in more recent years, they've become a global leader, and they've been in Gartner's top 10 since 2011. Gartner's is a supply chain management ranking that's done every year. And this year, they managed to make it into the Masters category with the likes of Amazon, GE, and companies like those. They've got proven practices, and they're willing to innovate. Back in the early 2000s, they had a little bit of a problem with their supply chain, but they weren't shy about taking a look at it and figuring out how to make it better. And the results are proven by them getting into that master's class in the Gartner's rankings. So some of the products and services that they offer, obviously they offer food. They're a food service company, and that plays a large part into their supply chain. But they also have to figure out how to package that food, what to do with the waste that's created from the packaging, and they also offer toys and various other things around the store that customers enjoy. So let's take a look at how they manage that process. So Ray Kroc came up with an idea back in 1955 to 1960 about the system philosophy. And what it's based on is a three-legged stool. That's another name for it. It's where employees, owners, and the supply partners each play an equal role in their business, McDonald's business. And one good thing is that the supply partners have an equal role. In a lot of companies, the supply partners are looked at as just somebody that I buy my products from. But with McDonald's, these partners have a vested interest in this company. They realize that they are part of the McDonald's family, and that gains McDonald's a significant advantage over other companies that don't have this trust and relationship with these suppliers. They've taken that three-legged stool system and changed it into a vested methodology. That's what kind of it's called now. And there's 5 rules to this. You need to focus on outcomes, not transactions. So don't take what they're doing now with each supplier. Everybody needs to focus on what goal is set and how can I help us get there as a team, not as 2 separate companies. And that kind of ties in with the what and not the how. The what and not the how means we need to focus on what are we trying to do, not how does this benefit me, how does it benefit you. They have clearly defined and measurable outcomes. This is important for tracking and figuring out how you can make something better. They've implemented pricing models, incentives, and trade-offs with their suppliers. And what this does is it builds that trust with them. They give them set pricing models that the supplier needs to try and meet, and then that benefits McDonald's because then they can keep their pricing models the same when they sell their product to a customer. This builds innovation and helps everybody have a cheaper product with just the same quality. So they have incentives and trade-offs as well. Their suppliers realize that through these incentives and trade-offs that they may lose a penny today, but in the future McDonald's will help them out and they might gain a nickel in the future. And McDonald's doesn't want to govern for oversight. They want to look at their up-chain supplies for insight on what they can do better to help their suppliers, or what their suppliers can do better to help them to get to the goal that they're aiming at. So now that we know how they go through the supply chain and how they work with their suppliers, let's talk about their ethical and supply chain management process. So what they list on their website is that they are focused on an ethical, environmental, and economic insight that will help them build their supply chain into a better supply chain for all. They envision a supply chain that profitability yields high quality, safe products without supply interruption, while leveraging their leadership position to create a net benefit by improving those ethical, environmental, and economic outcomes. So not only are they trying to help their business, they want to help the businesses in the different areas where they're at. So the people they're concerned with, they want to ensure that they have a good job and a good place to work, and nobody's harmed from the production of their goods and services. They're very concerned with the environment, the planet. They're so concerned with it that they've gone down to the point where they are worried about climate change and how their packaging and products affect the environment. One example is deforestation. They may have a McDonald's down in Brazil or some other forested area, and their suppliers may as well. And they're trying to figure out how to prevent those forests from being torn down through the creation of their product. And they want this business they've created to be profitable for everyone, not just them, but for the local communities that they're operating in. And then that's shared with each of the different areas of their business. And to help them do this, they've formed what's called the Sustainable Supply Steering Committee. This is a figurehead for their local supply and their international supply areas. Primarily, they're going to govern the international supply, ethical and sustainable portions. They want to make sure that everything that they've done is ethical and sustainable for the locality that they're in. For example, if you're in a third world country of some sort, you may have a greater likelihood of child labor, where here in America, we may overuse certain products, paper products or plastic products, and they want to ensure that their supply chain will handle both those varying, widely different subjects, and they do this through the Sustainable Supply Steering Committee. So let's take a look at how they're maintaining and improving their supply chain. One of the main things that they're focused on right now is automation and technology. In their warehouses, they're trying to get with their suppliers and in their own warehouses to use robots and asset management tools to reduce costs and make the supply chain move faster. This helps them in various ways. It ensures that their food is going to get to where it needs to go quicker. That reduces some of their concerns that we'll talk about on the last slide here. And it also makes that product cheaper, so they can make a more quality product at the same price, and the customers will be happy and everybody will make more money. The technology aspect, they are utilizing computerized asset management. This helps with the tracking of all of their different components, whether it be beef or buns or whatever it is, and automated barcodes similar to what Amazon might use so that they can have a movable warehouse or adjustable warehouse rather. And enterprise resource planning systems really helps all this stuff tie together. That way they can look at exactly where they can improve and how they can make it run quicker in a way that maybe a human wouldn't be able to see just by tracking on pen and paper or just by looking at the process. And they've even gone so far as to lean the processes out in the store to reduce the supply chain load. So what they've done in recent years is they have stopped pre-making burgers or fries or chicken sandwiches, because what happens once you put all that stuff together is that your shortest shelf life item is going to dictate then how long that item is good for. So for example, bread in a package may last for several weeks, but once you combine it with a warm chicken sandwich, now it's going to only last an hour in the warmer. So that's going to reduce their supply chain load by reducing waste. And how do they maintain customer and vendor relationships? So they utilize the three-legged stool model, where everyone is an equal part of the team. When everybody agrees on the processes that they were doing, then everybody's going to walk away happy from the business deal. That's very difficult to do in business, but if everyone can walk away like they feel like they've benefited some way, that's a goal that you should have. They've created share goals as far as the environmental and people aspect of each portion of their business, no matter what country it's in. They're trying to ensure that each locality is maintained in an ethical manner. And they've implemented the Scale for Good program that deals with waste reduction and energy conservation to ensure that the ethical customer will want to come in and use their business and get their food. They've been very open about it, and they're trying to do a good thing here. And vendors look for that as well. Vendors don't want to sell to an unethical company either. And finally, some supply chain obstacles, risks, security concerns. One main obstacle and risk that any food service company has to deal with is food availability and the safety of that food. So recently there's been some government actions that creates concerns, whether it be with the pork or whatever different item is coming in or going out of a international border. And since McDonald's is a global company, this is a obstacle and a risk for them. They need to make sure that their supply chain operates quickly. Because of recent changes, they're trying to move to a fresh beef model, and so they need to make sure that that food gets shipped quickly to prevent contamination and disease. And also changing customer requirements. The new customer wants fresh meats. They don't want antibiotics in there. Fresh breads and GMOs, which are creating some health concerns in certain areas of the world. And those are just a few of the items that they're concerned with right now. So wrapping up, the publicly traded company that I chose is McDonald's. I selected them because they are a globally recognized leader. They made it into the Masters portion of the Gartner's 2018 list. Went over some of the products and services that they offer, such as the food, toys, and they've got their packaging to deal with in their supply chain management process that deals with a three-legged stool, or the vested process now. They're very sustainable, and they've created a lot of ethical practices that they've implemented recently. They're focused on maintenance and improvement. Their customer and vendor relations are really good, both nationally and internationally. And then we finished up with some supply chain obstacles, risks, and security concerns. and here's my references. Thank you for